Hello everybody! Today I will be doing a review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 1 Phantom Blood. I watched the re-edited version on Crunchyroll for this review, and I shall start with a plot synopsis. So it begins with us showing the main antagonist as a child, Dio, D-I-O. As a child whose mother is dead, he lives in poverty and his father is about to die and is also a stinking alcoholic. And eventually his father gives him a letter because apparently the JoJo's, the super rich family, owe him something. And Dio's dad dies, so Dio ends up getting adopted by the JoJo's, where he then meets Jonathan Joestar, the hero of this story, and his dog, Danny. And he then proceeds to kick Danny in the face and shove him in the furnace. I'm not kidding, he kills a dog by shoving it in a furnace. And a bunch of stuff happens. And basically, Dio also kisses Jonathan's girlfriend, Erina, and that really makes Jonathan mad, so they proceed in a fight where Jonathan beats the living life out of Dio and causes his blood to go on the wall, and on the wall is this mask. And it turns out it's a stone mask where if you wear it and you get blood on it, these things come out and pierce your brain and turn you into a vampire. And they find this out, time skip. That's not until part 5. Now they're like 20 or something, I don't know. And Dio is trying to poison Jonathan's father. Jonathan finds out. Jonathan goes to where the cellar is and meets a person named Speedwagon. And all you need to know about Speedwagon is he's the true Giga Chad. True Giga Chad Speedwagon. So, yeah. Then Dio turns into a vampire, kills the dad. The mansion burns down. Dio's inside the mansion when it burns down. Turns out Dio survived. Then Jonathan meets this guy named William Zeppeli, who teaches him Hammond, which is like a breathing technique. Because in this world, vampires are weak to sun, and Hammond, when you breathe, it produces Hammond, and Hammond has like sun energy that can be used to kill like zombies, vampires, and all things unholy. So that's Hammond. And don't get used to Hammond, it's only in part 1 and 2. All other 7 parts use something called a stand, which I'll get into when I do a part 3 review. If you want to know what a stand is, go Google it yourself, you lazy piece of poop. And yeah, then Jonathan learns things, and a bunch of shenanigans happen. Oh, it's Dio's castle now. And oh, look, Jonathan has a sword. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I skipped over in this. And he uses Hammond on Dio and disintegrates him and throws him off the edge of his castle. Dio's castle. And it turns out Dio survived, as in his head survived. So it turns out the head didn't get to... Where was I? I just realized I'm not sure how long. Okay. So yeah, Dio gets disintegrated, but turns out his head survives. And then he climbs onto Jonathan and Erina's wedding boat that they're using to go to America for their honeymoon, kills Jonathan and takes his body. Luckily, Erina escapes with a random baby she found, whose mother got killed, and she's also pregnant with George Joestar II. That's Jonathan's son. He's not very important. Like, the most about him is like a book, and that's it. And then Erina floats off in Dio's coffin, which survives an exploding ship. And it turns out Dio was also in the coffin, because the coffin has a secret compartment, as we see in part 3. So, Dio was hiding. He stole Jonathan's body, and he was hiding under the first layer of the coffin. Erina gets rescued, and the coffin sinks to the bottom of the ocean, only to be dug up in the year 1988, I think. I'm not too sure. I think 1988. Sometime around then. And now we'll get into the characters of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The main character is Jonathan Joestar. That one right there. That one right there. And he is the main character of Part 1phantom Blood. Now to the side characters. We have Erina, Jonathan's girlfriend and wife. Yeah, there's not much to her in the re-edited version, which is the one I watched, so isn't really much to her. Now we have the Giga Head Speedwagon, who started off as a street thug, but then turned to a good guy with Jonathan, and later in his he found oil in part 2 and became a rich man and kind of changed the world economy. But that's not until part 2, so we won't get into that. Next we have Baron Zeppeli, also known as William Zeppeli. He's the guy who teaches Jonathan Hammond. He has a funny mustache, a nice hat, a very, very nice hat, and is killed by Tarkus by getting cut in half with a chain, but not until he gives all of his Ripple to Jonathan. And Ripple is Hammond. Hammond is also called Ripple. The Ripple is Hammond. So he gives his Hammond to Jonathan, which makes him an old guy. Makes Zeppeli an old guy. That's so important. And yeah, and then you got the main antagonist, Dio. And yeah, basically Dio is just a bad guy. Like, he's your standard bad guy. Like, he is your real standard bad guy. Yeah, it's just like, he is made out to be the low scum of the earth, which admittedly he is. And he also reappears in part 3, which is when the coffin gets dug up out of the ocean. But, you know, it's not very important. And yeah, that was all the major characters. And now for my final thoughts on Part 1phantom Blood. It's good. It's not as good as the later parts. I like Jonathan's blue hair. And yeah, there's really not much to it. But hey, it began the JoJo franchise, so you gotta give it credit. this is all for today, and I will see you next time for my part 2 review, Battle Tendency. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with your friends and family. Or else, I will devour your soul.